All right, Barts. Well, even though you didn't make it to the game, you seem to be the only person who was able to watch the game in full and be able to give us a full account of what went on, because Wedders and I certainly didn't get the chance to be revealed later. Wedders, no doubt in the whack what happened, but let's start with scores, Barts.
All right, Hawthorn 18-13, 121, defeating Collingwood 8-8-56.
And goal kickers?
Gunston with 5, Roughhead 4, Hale 2, Piopolo 2, and singles to Lewis, Simpkin, Bruce, Segler, and Hartung.
Wedders, did you have a clue that Gunner kicked 5?
I don't have any recollection of the game at all, if I'm perfectly honest, given the behaviour of a couple of Collingwood oxygen thieves on the night that ruined it for everybody around them, including the young kids we had in our group of patrons that had to put up with the C-bomb and the F-bomb for far too long before these two idiots were kicked out.
Yes, well, let's go into a match review. Barts, what happened?
We failed to get out of the blocks. Collingwood dazzled us with their pressure. There's a few contests where I think there might have been a few blokes thinking, I don't really need to go for this. But after about quarter time, they sort of switched on halfway through the second quarter and class rose to the top and away we went.
Collingwood, from what we could tell, seemed to have just gone out with one big mighty, let's give it a crack early. It was successful, but run out of puff pretty quickly. Would that be fair?
Yeah, no, that'd be a fair comment. Look, I think their lack of ability in who they had on the park just showed, once the game settled down, which is funny, it's the way we've played against Collingwood, even when we've been a good side, and we know we have to hold them early the best we can, and then we can run over the top, and that's what happened. They just didn't have the bodies out there, and they couldn't match us. So, yeah, it's pretty cruisy run in the end.
Schoenmakers had a shocker, though, didn't he?
Just doesn't look comfortable at the moment. He's totally lacking in confidence. I think the trip down to Box Hill did him more harm than good. Hasn't come back renewed. Yeah, look, I think Spanger's got to be ahead of him.
Do you think he's just feeling the pressure of being on the perimeter and therefore he's just not having a fun time at the moment?
Yeah, possibly. He also seems to be a yard short in pace compared to what he was. And you wonder, the year off with the knee injury, and he obviously spent it in the gym, judging by his size, especially pre-season, and he might have just put on a bit too much weight and lost a bit of pace. So I think he might be better off spending the pre-season slimming down like Brian Lake style and using his speed rather than trying to match these blokes with size.
But how is it then, and if I can chime in here, I'm a little bit sick and tired. I'm not directing this at you guys, but I'm just a little bit sick and tired of this mollycoddling and treading on eggshells around Ryan Schoenmakers and his place on the list. I mean, the guy spent the summer in the gym, built up, looks like the Incredible Hulk, and still gets pushed off the ball by blokes that are smaller than him. He doesn't seem to be able to position himself properly, and frankly, I'm just about done. I think we should be looking at what we might be able to get for him, if I'm perfectly honest.
I guess it's a matter of how long you persevere.
6 years he's had on the list now, and I know he's had knee issues, but he's 6 years and 80-odd game.
What are we replacing him with?
Well,
at a similar age, Tom Hawkins was struggling.
Yeah, but
I mean, look, the being pushed off the ball thing's as much about football knowledge as it is about physical strength, and he doesn't seem to have that. So, look, whether they try to give him a crack as a forward without messing him around like this year, that's what they were going to do, but they end up playing him back because of the injuries all year.
Without making this the Ryan Schoenmakers show, where would he fit in Hawthorn's forward line? This is the real problem I have. He may very well be a natural forward, but looking at the way we set up our forward line, it's very, very, very difficult to see where he fits in. And on that basis alone, maybe we can conner a North Melbourne or somebody like that into paying more than what they probably should for it.
Anything is possible. But yeah, we need to see what we get out of Heatherly and Brand. I think that's the key. Those two blokes come on, so we've got someone coming in to replace a Lake. Then there's options there, but we need to see what happens with that. And look, anyone you draft's going to be in the same position for a couple of years as well. So we need to see what we get out of those two, and that'll make all the difference.
Well, let's go on to the positive. Bardslow votes.
All right, I've gone 5 for Gunston, 4 to Lewis, 3 to Gibson, 2 to Mitchell, and 1 to Ruff.
Well, let's get into the real topic here. Let's talk about what happened on Friday night, because it was quite disgusting, wasn't it, Adam?
I've never seen anything like it, if I'm perfectly honest. We had two clowns 3 or 4 rows behind us, yelling out expletives, and really rather blue expletives at the top of their voice, and then threatening myself, and I don't know whether they threatened others, but they threatened myself when I asked them to tone it down on account of kids being around. And to amplify the issue, the efforts of security, particularly initially, were very, very ordinary and left me with a very bitter taste in my mouth, as I'm sure it did you and the other people we have in our entourage. And frankly, there's just no time and place for that sort of behaviour at football, where you're trying to foster a game for kids to enjoy as they grow up.
Well, enough said there, isn't it? I've relayed the story to many people in the work environment since I've been back, and they're just shocked to hear that this sort of conduct's allowed to happen, and that potentially we were all put in danger. But you got a blast?
No, I don't have a blast this week. I'm still recovering from big blast that I gave Mr. Motlop last week, and hoping like hell he doesn't turn that around on me this week.
And I see that you're reaching out to people because you just didn't think people gave you good enough response to that blast.
They put a lot of time and effort into that and got nothing.
No.
I actually got it up on the phone myself and played it to my parents so I could get some feedback.
Well, let's talk about Friday night then. Straight into the big one, the excitement of it all. Hawthorn playing Geelong. You nervous, Adam?
No, I'm not nervous. That'll be reflected in the margin that I put up later in the show. But I think, and I've predicted it for the last month, there is going to be a side in the finals that gets hold of Geelong. And I would not be surprised. In fact, I'm expecting that this week they're going to get their comeuppance and be blasted into wherever, because they're just making up the numbers, in my view. Some good ageing players, but I think they are significantly below the top 2 or 3 sides.
But do you agree with Adam's assessment?
I do, mate. Adam and I were talking about it earlier, and I just think there's a reason when you look at the ladder and there's a 20% gap between the sides, and that's where the class comes in. We played similar teams, similar draws. Geelong fell into so many games where we won the games well, and I think we've got to the point now where we are that much better a side than them. It's a little bit psychological still. A slow start last time, but as long as we start well, I can see it's just running all over them, because there's no way we'll take the foot off the throat. We still owe them. We know that. It's time for a couple of blokes to step up against them that normally struggle. If they do step up, then I think we can just give them a good whack.
Is it a case of the ins and the outs reverse this week? Is that as simple as it's going to be?
Just depends on Suckling, how he comes up. I imagine that he's going to struggle. Not many knee injuries or 1 week turnaround, so he's probably going to struggle. So you'd imagine Stratton comes straight back and Hodge, Hartung out for Hill. Then you got Giray and Littleland, Schoenmakers. So either Giray or Littleland will probably stay in for Suckling, I think, and that's probably the best side we're going to be able to put out.
And Rioli, there's a bit of excitement. Is he on his way back?
I've still got my doubts, mate. They're still saying 2 weeks, and it's just going to be the roll of the dice. I think our best chance is to play him in the Box Hill Grand Final if they make it on our preliminary final weekend, and if he comes out of it, then you throw him straight in the Grand Final. But it's a big risk to play him in potentially a prelim final without him having had a run.
All right, well, I'm going to come back to nearest to the pin in a minute. Talking of Box Hill. Box Hill had a win, good win against Port. I think, if I remember rightly, Port finished on top of the ladder. And our big guys, Grimley, Loudon, McAvoy, all played well.
They did, mate. It looked like Ben McAvoy might have been given the job to stay forward in that game. He didn't get up on the ruck much at all. Let Loudon look after that. And the other one that was impressive was his younger brother, Peter, who played his first senior game and dominated in the air as well. They were a bit slow early, Box Hill, but once they got going, very good indeed. And Woodward was another one that was great in that game, and see, he was rewarded for his season last night.
Won the Liston. Did you see that, Adam?
I did, yeah. He's been well rewarded, and I think certainly one for the future. But Barts, let's see, for a guy that didn't actually spend much time in the ruck, McAvoy had something like 46 hit-outs and 4 goals.
Did he really have 46 hit-outs?
I don't know whether that's right, but that's what I read.
Well, I mean, he definitely did a lot of the ruck work around the forward line and that, but he did seem to be forward a lot as a target. So, look, maybe I underestimated how long I was sort of going between the bar and the TV watching it.
I might might be wrong. I'm just trying to have a bit of a look at the Age website now to see whether that's actually correct. But I am told that he had 46 hit-outs, so he's obviously had one hell of a game.
Oh, look, he definitely played well, and Port are a short side, so it's probably a good opportunity for him to dominate, but he's done all he can do. There's still a bit of talk of horses for courses. I don't know, maybe they're thinking McAvoy matches up better against, say, Sandilands and what Segler would, but his last outing against Sandilands wasn't very impressive, so good problem to have, as we said last week. I like Hale and Segler. I like running them around, which they've got more pace than McAvoy, so be interesting to see what we come up with.
Well, they get a week off, but the senior side doesn't, so let's tee off. Nearest to the pin, Bards.
4!
I'm going to go with 45 points.
Adam?
4!
93 points.
And he says with a smile on his face,
93 points, gentlemen. It's all over. They can go and get stuffed.
Is this your attempt to win nearest the pin overall by blowing everyone out of the water this week?
93 points.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I'm right. 93.
well, I'm going to go the normal pessimistic self,
4!
27. And on that note, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.